Your life is being shaped even if you do not realize it in the first 60 minutes after you wake up. That is not an exaggerated statement. It is a simple truth that most people in today's world are missing. We live in a time where everything is loud. Alarms go off. Notifications flash across screens. Emails stack up. News headlines crash in like waves. And then we are pulled into that chaos as if it is the normal way of life. There is no time to think, no time to reflect, no time to ask, am I truly living or just going through the motions? Have you ever reached the end of the day and asked yourself, what did I even do today? Not because you were lazy, but because your day began without a center, without purpose. Let me say this clearly, the morning is not the time to react, it is the time to create. In one quiet moment, perhaps, while standing in front of the mirror, with water still dripping from your face, you might feel something slipping away inside you. A sense that you are no longer the one guiding your life. In that moment, you might think you need a vacation, a self-help book, or a new mentor. But the truth is, you do not need something far away. You need to take back your morning. Why? Because the morning is the moment when your choices are at their purest, when the world has not yet claimed your attention, when your mind is still calm enough to hear your own voice, if you are willing to listen. Look closely at the people you admire, not for their fame, but for the way they live. There is something they share. They do not allow life to simply happen to them. They take initiative. They create rhythm. They begin their day with purpose, not by accident. Earl Nightingale once said, "We become what we think about most of the time." So ask yourself, what better moment exists to shape your thoughts than that first soft hour after waking, when your mind is open, fresh, and unguarded? The morning is not just a slot of time. It is the control panel for the entire day. If you calibrate it well, you guide the whole journey. But if you ignore it, you will be swept away by noise, distractions, and a list of endless demands. The challenge is this: most people do not know what to do with their mornings. They imitate others. They try routines like wake up at 5 a.m. like a billionaire and give up by day 3. They chase perfection and collapse under unrealistic expectations. That is why I am not here to hand you a flawless schedule. I am here to share one essential truth. Your morning only matters if it reflects the person you are becoming. From here forward, we will explore 6 key areas, not as tasks to check off, but as layers of awareness to build upon. You will understand why crafting your own morning matters more than copying someone else's version of success. You will learn how to assign meaning to your time instead of letting time pressure you into submission. You will discover that real energy does not come from caffeine alone, but from movement and intention. You will see that what you feed your mind shapes the quality of your life more than you think. You will learn to use gratitude and goals not as buzzwords, but as forces that ground and propel you daily. And ultimately, you will realize this one quiet, focused hour in the morning can change an entire year that feels rushed and reactive. This is not a seminar. This is not a shallow motivational speech. This is a call to rebuild from the inside. If you are ready, begin this journey with me. The starting point is not your current situation. It is how you choose to wake up tomorrow. Because every great change begins with one quiet morning. Part 1, the hour that sets the direction. There is a truth most of us are never taught. Morning is not just the beginning of the day, it is where the future is shaped. In this fast-paced modern world where everyone rushes into meetings, emails, and responsibilities, something strange happens. People live without truly knowing why they do what they do. Imagine this. 2 people have the same job, same skills, same environment. One advances in their career and finds meaning in each day. The other stays stuck, feeling like every day is just another repeat of the last. The difference is not luck. The difference lies in how they start their day. Let me tell you about Mark, a 35-year-old office worker living in Boston. 3 years ago, Mark was just like everyone else. He woke up late, rushed through breakfast, hurried to work, and spent the day reacting. Emails, messages, deadlines, everything made him feel like he was being pulled in every direction. He believed he was trying his best, but the results said otherwise. Everything changed not because Mark switched jobs, not because someone came to save him, but because of one seemingly small decision: waking up 90 minutes earlier each day. There was no magic, no 10-step formula. Just this: wake up early, sit quietly for 5 minutes, jot down a few thoughts, stretch, or read a few pages. That was it. But something remarkable happened. After just a few weeks, Mark began to feel different. He was calmer at work. He communicated more clearly. He no longer felt like he was being swept away. After 6 months, his manager noticed the change. A year later, he got promoted. Not because he did more, but because he had become more centered and intentional. You see, the first hour of the day is your compass. It does not need to be perfect, but it does need a purpose. If you start your day in chaos, the rest of the day becomes a chain of reactions. But if you start with intention, you will find that the rest of the day follows the direction you set. Earl Nightingale once said, "We become what we think about." But here's the question: when do we begin thinking? For many people, it is not early in the morning. It is somewhere in the middle of the chaos. And by the time we start thinking clearly, the day has already carried us far away. Morning is the only time of day you can fully control before the world asks anything of you. No emails, no deadlines, no ringing phones. Just you and your choices. The problem is most people do not design their mornings. They slide through them. They let the phone shape their mindset. They let the news determine their mood. They let the urgency of others steer them from the very first moment, and then they wonder why they always feel drained, overwhelmed, and out of control. If you do not design your first hour, you are giving away the most valuable part of your day. That hour should be the space where you pause and orient yourself, not where you rush to catch up. It should be the time you plant positive thoughts, not absorb the chaos of others. What can you do? Start by observing your first hour. What do you usually do when you wake up? Do you check your phone? Do you turn on the TV? Do you dive into work before taking a single deep breath? Change that. It does not take much. Choose just 3 simple actions. Sit still for 2 minutes and feel your breath. Write down 3 things you are grateful for. Write 1 sentence about what you want to accomplish today. Just 5 minutes every morning can alter the course of your day. And if you repeat that every day, your entire life will begin to shift. This is not some empty theory. Psychological studies have shown that people with consistent morning rituals experience less stress, higher productivity, and a greater sense of direction in life. Our brains respond extremely well to intentional repetition. When you repeat a positive behavior each morning, you send a message to your subconscious: I am in control. And when you control the beginning, you gradually learn how to handle everything else that follows. Think back to a day when you started with calmness. Did you notice that everything seemed to flow better that day? That was not a coincidence. That was momentum you created from your very first moments. We cannot predict everything that will happen in a day, but we can prepare our inner world. And that is exactly what the first hour gives you. Stop living by default, start living by design. Begin with the first hour. Part 2, design is better than imitation. In an era where opening YouTube or TikTok gives you hundreds of videos titled "Morning of a Millionaire Wake Up at 4 a.m. for Success" or "CEO Morning Routine," it is easy to fall into a trap trying to imitate a lifestyle that is not designed for you. You see someone waking up at 4 a.m., meditating for 30 minutes, running 10 kilometers, reading books, drinking green smoothies, and diving into a highly productive workday. You try to follow it, but by day 3, you feel exhausted. You wake up late, skip meditation, and then blame yourself for lacking discipline or motivation. Slowly, you give up on building a better morning. The problem is not that you are weak. The problem is that you are living in someone else's model. Sarah is a single mother in Chicago. She works 2 jobs, has 2 young children, and barely has any free time. She once tried following the routine of a popular influencer: wake up at 5 a.m., journal for 30 minutes, go for a run, meditate, study French. But after just a few days, she was completely burned out. She felt terrible for not keeping up. One day, she decided to let go of all formulas. Instead, she designed a morning that made sense for her reality. She set aside 10 minutes before her kids woke up to sip coffee. In silence, write down 3 things she was grateful for and take 5 deep breaths. It was not a CEO routine, but it was hers, and it worked. What matters is not how long or impressive your morning looks. What matters is whether that morning truly belongs to you. Because when you imitate mindlessly, you miss the most essential element: the alignment between action and personal values. A habit is only sustainable when it reflects what you truly believe, what you can maintain, and what helps you feel connected to yourself. Remember this: you do not need a morning like Elon Musk. You need a morning that helps you become the best version of yourself, even if it is silent, simple, and never posted online. Let us return to the most basic question: what do I need to begin my day better? The answer will vary for each person. For some, it is silence. For others, it is movement. For you, it may be writing down your worries or planning your top 3 tasks for the day. There is no universal formula, but there is a principle of personalized design. Here is a suggested process for designing a morning routine that fits you. Evaluate your available time. How many minutes do you realistically have each morning? 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour? Be honest. Identify your core values. What helps you feel clear, focused, and grounded? Is it learning? Is it movement? Is it journaling? Choose no more than 3 activities, ideally 2 inner activities like stillness, gratitude, writing prayer, reading, and 1 body activity such as light movement, walking, or stretching. Set a consistent space, a corner of a desk, a specific chair, a candle, a place you return to every morning. Repeat it for 7 days. Do not change it. No matter how you feel, just do it. Repetition builds identity. Common mistakes when beginning to design your morning. Being too ambitious, trying to cram in too many things, leads to burnout. Comparing yourself to others. Feeling like your routine is not good enough because it does not look like someone else's. Relying on emotion. Waiting to feel inspired before starting instead of placing the habit into a fixed schedule. Lacking flexibility. If one day you cannot meditate for 10 minutes, meditate for 1 minute. The key is not quitting. A morning routine designed for you is one you look forward to. It does not pressure you, it invites you. It does not add stress, it supports you. You may take a few weeks to adjust. That is perfectly fine. Think of your morning like a piece of music. You are the composer. Sometimes you add a note, sometimes you take one out. But the theme remains the same: presence and intentionality. Let go of the pressure to meet a standard set by someone else. Begin from where you are. A habit, no matter how small, when repeated in the right context, holds the power to create long-term transformation. And finally, remember the words of Earl Nightingale: success does not come from loud actions. It comes from quiet choices repeated over and over. Nowhere is this truth more evident than in the morning. And if this video resonates with you, if you feel awakened, empowered, reminded that you can take ownership of yourself, then subscribe to my YouTube channel today. Because this journey does not end here. Let us continue with the next chapter together. There is a silent truth unfolding every day, but most people miss it. Not because they are not smart enough, but because they have never paused long enough to look directly at their own schedule. Schedule, a word that sounds dry, technical, mechanical. But in truth, it holds the secret to destiny. People often ask, who will I become in the future? I say, show me your schedule for this week, and I will tell you who you are becoming. Do not think of destiny as some random twist of the universe. Destiny is the result of repeated programming each day, written into every time block you use and every decision you prioritize. We live in an age where people beat their chests talking about goals, dreams, ideals, but they live each day as if time is infinite. They run, they scramble, they fill their days with urgent tasks that are rarely important, and then they look back, surprised, asking, why am I still in the same place? Because their schedule does not reflect their dream. It reflects confusion. It reflects a lack of intention. It reflects survival. A man might say he wants to become an author. But if I look at his schedule and see no writing hours, he is not an author. He is someone who talks about writing. A woman might say she wants to be healthy. But if her schedule is filled only with meetings, screens, and rushed meals, she is not pursuing health. She is sacrificing it. We do not live according to what we hope. We live according to what we schedule. A successful person does not have more time. They simply organize their time differently. They understand that every minute is a vote for the person they are becoming. They do not allow time to leak into the cracks of procrastination. They do not let others program their day for them. They guard their schedule like sacred ground, because they know a schedule is the clearest reflection of life values. When you spend time learning, you are casting a vote for the smarter version of yourself. When you dedicate 30 minutes each morning to stillness, journaling, and reading, you are casting a vote for the inner leader you are building. When you skip meaningless meetings to have breakfast with your child, you are teaching them that love does not have to be loud, but it must be present. You do not need a packed schedule. You need a meaningful one. Every time block should be a deliberate step that brings you closer to your goals, not just keep you spinning in a cycle of busyness. Look at your morning schedule. Is there space for thinking? Is there a quiet moment to sit with yourself? Are there time slots for creating value rather than just consuming? Or are you being swept away by emails, messages, and alarms? Ask yourself, if I am not intentionally scheduling what matters, then what is taking over my day? The answer is usually other people, the world, noise, false urgency. And if you let that happen for long enough, you will forget what you ever wanted. Do not live from memory. Live from design. Schedule your dream. Schedule your learning. Schedule your creativity. Schedule your recovery. Because if you do not move intentionally toward what matters, you will drift toward what is easy. And what is easy has never built a life worth living. When you pick up the pen to plan your calendar, you are not just organizing time, you are shaping identity. Every time block is a declaration, this matters. This is what I choose. And here is the miracle: when you design a schedule that truly reflects who you are becoming, you stop fighting time. You move with it. You are no longer overwhelmed by long days. You feel powerful. You feel in control. You feel free. Freedom does not come from doing nothing. Freedom comes from knowing exactly what you are doing, why you are doing it, and when. Start simple. One time block for yourself in the morning, one block for learning in the evening, one weekly block to reflect, adjust, and redesign. And protect those blocks like a warrior. Because your enemy is not time. It is fragmentation, distraction, living without direction. The one who controls their schedule controls their destiny. You do not need to do everything, but you must do the right things at the right time consistently until they become the foundation of who you are. This is not robotic discipline. This is organized love. Loving your dream enough to give it space. Loving your values enough not to lose them in the noise. Loving yourself enough not to live one more day by default. Because in the end, when you look back on your life, you will not remember everything you were once busy with. You will remember the things you scheduled and completed with full presence, intention, and commitment. And those things, they will be your life. Nothing more, nothing less. Part 4. Movement creates momentum. Discipline begins with the first step. There is a great paradox in the modern world. People wait for motivation to begin, while successful people begin in order to create motivation. Imagine the morning as a thick fog. When you are still in bed, the world around you feels quiet, vague, sluggish. And in that moment, only movement can tear through that fog. One step out of bed is not just a physical act, it is a mental declaration. I choose action before I feel ready. Many people live in a state of waiting for inspiration. But inspiration does not come to those who sit still. It comes to those who act. You want to feel energized? Step forward. Stretch your body. Walk a few laps around the house. Do a few forward bends. Breathe deeply. Loosen your limbs. Move lightly. Do not wait to feel strong to move. Move to feel strong. A man once told me that for 15 years he began every morning with coffee and the news. He always felt heavy, sluggish, and anxious. Until one day he made a change. Before touching his phone, he walked for 15 minutes. After a week, clarity returned. After a month, he felt like a new person. That transformation did not come from magic. It came from basic biology. When you move, blood circulates. The heart beats faster. Oxygen flows to the brain. Positive hormones are released. Your mind sharpens. Your emotions stabilize. And most importantly, you begin to feel capable of owning your day. Without movement, there is no momentum. Without momentum, there is no direction. Without direction, you easily fall back into the familiar cycle: laziness, procrastination, reacting to life instead of leading it. I am not telling you to run 10 kilometers. I am saying just move. Anything that awakens your body. You can take the stairs instead of the elevator. You can stretch, bend, rotate your shoulders right in your room. You can turn on your favorite music and sway along. Do not think movement has to be a workout. It only needs to be a ritual that awakens the action taker inside you. Because if you begin the day with movement, you are sending a subconscious message to yourself: I am moving forward. And that changes everything. Earl Nightingale once said, "We become what we think about." I would add one more line. We also become what we repeat. And when you repeat proactive behavior every morning, you are building a new identity, a person of discipline, a person who does not wait to be pushed, a person who starts on their own. The world does not reward the one who knows the most, who dreams the most, or who thinks the best. The world rewards the one who acts. And every great action begins with small steps, in the dark, unseen, uncelebrated. But you know, you see, you feel it. Movement does not just change your state. it changes the nature of your life. A morning without movement is a morning without a center. You will be pulled toward distractions, noise, and meaningless tasks. But when you begin with movement, you activate your entire system, your cognition, your emotions, your energy, and your willpower. Make movement the anchor of your morning. Do not complicate it. Simplify it. A 5-minute ritual repeated every day is more powerful than a 90-minute workout done once a month. Successful people do not wait for motivation before they act. They act, then create motivation. You will never feel like it is the right moment. You must create the right moment by stepping out of stagnation. If there is one lesson I have learned from those who came before me, CEOs, athletes, creators, and from my own experience, it is this: the morning does not begin in the mind. It begins in the feet. Action is a silent prayer. It is a wordless affirmation. It is how you tell the universe, I am ready. There is no such thing as a perfect morning, but every morning can become the first spark, and you are the one who lights it. Part 5, what your mind consumes, your life reflects it. Imagine your mind as fertile soil. Each morning when you wake up is the moment that soil is ready to receive its first seed. But what are you planting? Is it seeds of clarity, ambition, wisdom, or is it weeds of toxic news, meaningless social media, vague fears? We live in an era where everything screams for your attention. Sadly, many people allow the world to plant in their minds instead of choosing what they truly want to cultivate. Earl Nightingale once said, "We become what we think about." But he also implied that you cannot think right if you consume wrong. The mind is the first gate that must be guarded. If you let the enemy in from the early morning, do not be surprised if your entire day feels drained, unfocused, and discouraged. No vehicle can go far when its tank is filled with sand instead of fuel. So what is quality fuel? It does not have to be a 60-minute philosophy lecture. Sometimes it is just 10 good pages of the right book, a quote that stops you in your tracks, a podcast that stirs your thinking, an article that makes you pause and look inward. I once met a successful man, the founder of a multi-million-dollar company. I asked, what makes you different from others in your industry? He did not talk about strategies or funding. He simply said, I do not let the world tell me who I am. Every morning I choose who gets to speak into my mind. Each morning he spends 20 minutes reading things that help him reconnect with the person he is building, not for entertainment, but for alignment. You see, most people wake up and feed their minds counterproductive content. News filled with fear, social media flooded with comparison, phone calls filled with pressure, emails packed with demands. Then they wonder why their mood is low, their thinking unclear, and their life feels out of control. The simple answer: they did not choose their mind's menu. They let someone else decide it for them. You would never let someone slip poison into your breakfast. So why allow them to dump garbage into your mind? What you read, hear, and think about each morning does not just influence today, it lays the foundation for your long-term beliefs. And beliefs sooner or later dictate actions. Repeated actions become habits, and habits shape your destiny. This is not just a nice philosophy, it is neuroscience. Your brain is capable of rewiring itself, neuroplasticity. The thoughts you dwell on become the paths your brain favors. And morning is the brain's most impressionable time. It absorbs, reinforces, and rewires most easily at that hour. So begin with a simple ritual. Open a book instead of your phone. Listen to wisdom instead of shock value headlines. Write down what you are grateful for instead of what you are lacking. Do this for 10 minutes every morning, not for anyone else, not to prove anything, but to protect yourself from the creeping negativity waiting just beyond your door. Someone who learned this told me, I did not change my life just by reading books. I changed how I saw the world, and the world started changing back. You do not need to know everything. You only need to know what matters to you. And each morning, let that be the first thing to touch your mind. Your mind is like a lens. It can zoom in on opportunity or magnify risk. It depends on how you adjust the focus each morning. Your mind is like a factory. It can produce high-quality actions or repeat mediocre thoughts. It depends on the raw materials you feed it. Your mind is like a boat. It can drift with crashing waves or steer toward new land. It depends on the compass you set each day. If you truly want to take control of your life, begin by controlling the first information you consume each morning. Do not overcomplicate it. Choose one source you trust, one book that nourishes your spirit, one voice that wakes you up. Make it a ritual, a non-negotiable ritual, just like brushing your teeth, eating breakfast, or getting dressed. Growth does not come from dazzling breakthroughs, but from steady repetition. And what you feed your mind every morning is one of the most powerful repetitions there is. Ask yourself, what did I listen to this morning? What did I believe this morning? Where did I direct my mind this morning? Because the answers today will become the results tomorrow. Part 6, Gratitude and Goals, 2 pillars supporting a meaningful day. If the morning is the foundation of your day, then gratitude and goals are its 2 essential building blocks. Without them, you may wake up feeling directionless, easily swept away by news, social media, others' expectations, and an unnamed emptiness. However, beginning your day with gratitude and clear goals allows you to not only take control of your morning, but also reshape your entire mental landscape. Gratitude, desin elewan kikis. Gratitude is not a random emotion. It is a conscious decision to focus on what you have, no matter how small, rather than obsessing over what you lack. Remarkably, when you truly embrace gratitude, you alter your mental frequency. You shift from fear and scarcity to abundance and possibility. Consider an elderly woman living in a rural area. Her home is modest, containing only the essentials. Yet each morning she steps onto her porch, closes her eyes, and says, "Thank you for the birdsong. Thank you that my legs still carry me to the garden. Thank you that I am alive." She may not be wealthy in material terms, but she possesses a richness that many modern individuals have never experienced. She actively seeks out the good, even in the ordinary. You can do the same. Upon waking, write down 3 things you are grateful for. Do not rush. Write slowly. Feel each one. View them as seeds being planted in your mind. Gratitude enables you to start your day as a victor, not a victim. Goals. Gratitude anchors you in the present, but goals propel you toward the future. Goals provide momentum, energy, and answers to the question, what am I living for today? Without a clear objective, you are susceptible to being controlled by external forces. Others will dictate your busyness. Social media will determine your envy. Your life will be programmed by circumstances rather than intention. Imagine boarding a vehicle without a destination. You may drive in circles, exhaust your fuel, and never know which way to turn. But with a clear endpoint, even if distant or challenging, every small action becomes a meaningful step. Therefore, write down your goals. Not vague dreams like, I want to be rich or I want to succeed. Be specific. I aim to increase my income by 30% within 6 months. I plan to lose 5 kilograms by exercising 5 times a week. I intend to read 12 books this year. Write them down every morning, review them, speak them aloud. This practice strengthens the neural connections between ideas and actions. Repetition transforms goals from dreams into roadmaps. Many ask, what if I lack motivation? The answer: you do not need inspiration to begin. You need rituals to persist. Inspiration is fleeting. Rituals build habits. Once established habits eliminate the need for deliberation. You simply live as the person you aspire to be. Reflect on the 10 individuals you admire most. None achieved success by chance. They all had goals and began each day with mental clarity. If you wish to journey far, you cannot keep your map folded away. Goals are your map. Gratitude is the fuel that keeps you moving without being drained by doubt and comparison. A person lacking gratitude is perpetually weary. A person without goals is perpetually lost. But someone who possesses both walks with a full heart and a clear vision. Begin tomorrow morning. Before reaching for your phone. Before checking emails. Before allowing anyone to influence your mind, dedicate 5 minutes to gratitude and 5 minutes to goal setting. This is not a productivity hack. It is a ritual for identity transformation. It is your way of declaring to the world, I know why I live, and I cherish this life. Every morning is a vote for the life you want to live. You have walked with me through this entire journey, from the quiet moments at the start of the day, to purposeful design, to placing discipline into your schedule, fueling energy through movement, feeding the mind with wisdom, and keeping the heart warm with gratitude and goals. Each part of this video is not a standalone piece of advice. They are the pieces of a life blueprint, a lifestyle that does not react to circumstances, but instead actively creates direction, a lifestyle not swept away by the news alarm clocks or social pressure, but led from within. And it all begins in the first hour after you open your eyes. We often believe that to change our lives, we need a dramatic turning point, something out there. But the truth is, you do not need a breakthrough. You need consistency. You need to be steadfast with small things, but the right ones. You need to place a brick every morning, and one day you will see the entire tower standing tall. You need one morning hour to gradually rewrite the entire story of your life. Remember, you do not need Elon Musk's morning. You do not need to run like David Goggins. You do not need to journal like Silicon Valley millionaires. You need your own morning. A morning that you design no one else. A morning that clearly reflects who you are and who you are working to become. Because every lasting success begins with a grounded body and mind. And to build that, you do not need superpowers. You only need one morning hour, one decision each day, one repeated commitment, and now is the time to act. Do this as soon as the video ends. Write down one habit you will begin tomorrow. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. Choose one action, no matter how small, that will give meaning to your morning. You do not need to change everything. You only need to change the first hour and let the rest of the day adjust itself around it. And if this video reached you, if you feel awakened, energized, reminded that you can take ownership of your life, subscribe to my YouTube channel today. Because this journey does not end here. I will continue to walk with you through upcoming videos with deeper lessons, clearer philosophies, and more practical examples to help you live a life with no regrets. Leave a comment below. I will own my morning. That is not just a statement, it is a declaration about the life you are creating. You do not need to wait for inspiration. You need a decision. And tomorrow morning, let that decision become action. Because every morning is a vote you cast for the life you want to live. Choose wisely, live intentionally, and begin from tomorrow itself. From the very first minute you wake up.